Hey everyone, my name's Cameron Pace. This is the first video I'm doing where I'm in my studio, which is basically my bedroom, and I'm going to be making a song in 3 hours. So I don't know what to call this series yet, but I'm hoping to do a bunch of videos where in 3 hours I'll end up with an awesome song. So I'm going to record it all myself using laptop, my interface down here, condenser mic, a MIDI keyboard, and a range of guitars that you can't see. Also got an amp as well. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. Alrighty. So I'm using Ableton Live. I don't know why I forgot that, but I'm using Ableton Live just because I really like how easy it is to work with MIDI, and I'm a big MIDI user, being in a bedroom. If you're in a bedroom, you literally don't have much space to carry all these instruments, so having a bunch of instruments is really handy. Alright, so maybe for this song I'll kick it off by playing some piano, seeing what happens. So I'm going to open Kontakt 5 and drag it into my MIDI file, my MIDI track. Oh, there we go. Alright, you can see on my screen there's a bunch of instruments. That's pretty awesome. I'm going to open up Alicia's Keys in Kontakt 5. And while that loads, I'm going to go over to my MIDI keyboard, just checking it's all turned on, which it is. Alrighty, I find Alicia's Keys is really good. Just great sound, and it's adaptable when you add effects as well, so you can pretty much put it into most songs. Let's play some songs. Okay, that's working. I might just add some reverb if I'm going to write an emotional song. So what I really like about Ableton also is how you can just type in what you're looking for in your search bar up there and it comes up. Whereas Pro Tools, you know, you've got to search through the lists. Not that it's a problem, but when you're creating fast, you want to... that didn't sound very good. You want to be able to, you know, really get your idea as quick as possible so you don't lose any inspiration. So I guess one of the things about this series is I'm literally starting from nothing. I haven't planned anything before this session, and I'm just going to see what happens. This is how I often write. I often just sit down and start playing an instrument, whether it's the piano or a guitar, and I just see what happens. That's pretty cool. So that's going from a C down to an A. I reckon that could be a really cool verse. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be on the piano, but I'm going to start it on the piano and then see what happens. So maybe like 92, and then of course because it's MIDI we can play around with it and see what happens. So just playing around a little bit at the end there. I guess in this series I can't be embarrassed by what I'm making, because otherwise, you know, it won't be creative and it won't be cool in the end. It'll just be a super on the grid sort of song. So if you don't play around, you're never going to know if it's going to sound good. So yeah, I'm not embarrassed, and especially when I'm playing with other people as well. I'm really not embarrassed when I play with them, because I might not know all the tech side of things, might not know all the theory, but if I stumble on something that sounds great and we're super stoked, it's awesome. So I'm just going into the MIDI now to play around with it. That's cool. I sort of know where it might go later. It might go down to that chord down here, so it might go from and then down to F. But that's a little bit later on. Okay. So I want to make these all the same, just because I want consistency. So what you do is you highlight the ones you want to take to 0, and if you want them to all be the same, you can drag them down to 0 and bring them up again, all together. And adjust it. And let's do the same for these ones. That's cool. Now I'm coming down with the god-awful sound. And really you just got to sing over these and just really, well, this is what I do at least. I just sing. So I'm going to copy that over 4 times. So there's 8 repetitions. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't even count. But you can see on the screen, I've just looped it over and over again, and that's the advantage of MIDI, is looping. So I've looped it, and now I'm just going to play a bit of something else over the top, and really just, while it's creating at this point in time, I really just want to see what happens early on. So I'll get my Kontakt back up, and I'll drag it into a new MIDI file. Now I've got the Yamaha Motif XF, which is pretty awesome. If I want it to be really an emotional kind of song, you sort of want to go for that orchestral sort of sounds or an organ to start it off with and really strip it back to begin. So an ensemble option here. So let's see, a small ensemble. Let's just add that and see what happens. Why I'm running from the end. Cool, that's pretty cool, like that little loop just there. As I said before, I'm not really worried about structure right now. I'm just sort of trying to get some sounds out there to play around and find a vocal melody sort of thing. Quantizing is my friend. That's cool. So I would hold back from bringing that in, just because it's quite an interesting element, whether it comes in the second verse or just in the first verse, but halfway through, as I usually make my first verses longer. So I'm just going to duplicate that delete that. And I just want to play some chords over the top. The C. Oh, I was playing the strings. No wonder it didn't sound what I thought it would sound like. So that's a really nice deep, bassy sort of sound. So let me work on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. This definitely could form the start of my song. For sure, let's just see if it works after one loop. Might seem a bit cliche right now, but I'm hearing an ooh over the top at the start. So maybe I'm just gonna go in and record that and, you know, work from that as an example. So I'm gonna grab my cans and chuck them on. Okay, let's have a listen to what that sounds like. Now, I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't sound great, but I like those clicking. So a friend taught me a little trick with recording vocals. His great name is Tali Singh. I think he learnt it off his Grandmaster Chris, where every audio, every vocal should be done in threes. So you've got a central, a left, and a right. And these two should be brought down a bit. So let's just say -10. We're at 0 for our first one. And I'm just going to record just what it sounds like, just with one. And that's where I go a little bit strange. I didn't like that, so let's take that out. Alright. Now I'm going to record exactly the same thing 2 more times and put it on the left and put it on the right. Cool. Alright, let's have a listen to that. Yeah, let's have a listen. We'll have a listen to it. So let's add a bit of grit to it. So amp, go into my products. So I like using this one to add a bit of grit. It's meant to be a guitar amp, but there's a setting I like to use called Cream. If I can find it. I think it's called Cream. There it is. And let's add some verb. So it's not really... And my favourite verb to use is Vintage, Valhalla Vintage Verb. So they make some really cool products. And the Vintage Verb is my favourite one that's really nice. So let's just duplicate that. So let's just say this is our intro. So, yeah. I was just doing a bit of clicking before when I was recording vocals, and it sounded pretty cool. So I am not scared of putting it in. So let's start the vocal there. Let's just sing. I'll sing something completely random and see what happens. And I'm giving up on something new. Why do I do this all the time? I'm giving up some. So with lyrics and my writing, because I feel I write a lot of songs, they don't always have the full depth at the very beginning. And I'm not the sort of writer that writes down lyrics upon lyrics. I play the music and then I really just see what happens. So my lyrics sort of form over the space of, while I'm writing the song. And that sort of means the song can end up meaning anything by the end, no matter what I thought it would mean at the start. So it's just an individual thing. I'm giving up on something new. Why do I do this all the time? I'll write it off due to my youth. Why do I do this all the time? And then I'd bring in, at this point, my orchestra sound. But I would also keep my oohs. So this is where a bit of production comes into it. And I really feel like they're probably taking over a bit too much of my song, these oohs. So I'm going to turn up the verb and turn down their volume, because I want it to give a really euphoric feeling. This all the time. Now I'm bringing the clicks in here with the orchestra. And I feel like that's going to give me my next lyric. As soon as I put those clicks in, the next lyric's just going to come to me, I'm going to feel it. So let's put the clicks in. To let you know, through line 2, I've got my Fender Deluxe amp, so when it's time to bring in, let's say, tellies or something, or an electric guitar, I'm going to head over there and plug her in and see what happens. Adding an acoustic guitar as well, or an electric guitar, just as background noise in emotional songs, I find these days just adds this perfect element. So one of my missions will be to go through and time these up a bit. The hand clicks, they're pretty cool. Maybe, we'll see. Time to put some vocals in, I think. Now, generally I just record raw and then I'll edit a bit later. So, let's see. Let's see how we go. And then I got to think of a second part of the first verse. And then a chorus, really, to lead into the third verse to finish off the story. I'm giving up on something new. Why do I do this all the time? I'll write it off as my youth. Why do I do this all the time? I'll see you on the other side of the faded lines. Construction here and fires there. I'll see you on the other side. Now, I got no idea what I just sang at the end there, but I'm going to redo the first two lines as I've said the three vocals. Why do I do this all the time? I'll see you on the other side. So what I really like to do often, I don't have the highest voice in the world, but I like to give it that vocal octave and then really turn it down. So this is the sort of song where it would sound nice with a female, but because I'm just here by myself, I'm going to sing it myself. And sometimes it sounds a bit weird when I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm going to put a bit of compressor on my voice. I'm giving up on something new. And a bit of, why do I do this all the time? A bit of EQ, because you can see, I can feel that it's a bit too deep. So, yeah, where is it going? If we just set up a simple vocal. Write it off as my youth. Why do I do this all the time? Okay, it's sounding a bit too three people, so let's just halve. That's what I really do is just... I'm giving up on something new. Why do I do this all the time? I'll write it off as my youth. Why do I do this all the time? I'll see you on the other side. Okay. This is where we're at so far. I'm giving up on something new. Why do I do this all the time? I'll write it off as my youth. Why do I do this all the time? I'll see you on the other side. The other side of the faded line. Construction here in front. Cool, so there's a bit of cool piano that I was just playing then. They feel would really suit when those clicks come in. I'll see you on the other side. And I like it without it. The other side of the faded line. Construction here and fires there. This is really building up. I'll see you on the other side. Okay. And that's a place where it could go, really. So what I'm doing is going in and quantizing, so I really should have said what I was doing there. So I finished recording that. I feel like maybe I might have found where the chorus is going, but it could be. We'll have a look. But I definitely love this piano, how it comes in and compares it and versus the clicks. It's almost like in place of a kick, which could come in later and really give the chorus more impact, as opposed to getting all your instrumentation out in the air and drying it out before it even gets to the chorus. Speaking of drying, I do need to put on my washing pair. So the Valhalla verb, put it on it, almost makes it sound like it's playing twice when the verb kicks in properly, which gives it like this strong, weak against the clicks. It's not like I've done this on purpose, but that's just what's happened. Temporarily leave that and come back to write a verse later because it's got the vibe. We just need to move on to getting the chorus done. It's time to really arc it up and figure out what we're going to do for our chorus. And so what I liked about that, adding this piano in, is that it gave me an idea for the verse, which is, so if it's going like this, see you on the other side, oh, and I know that you're waiting tonight, oh, I know that you. I'll see you on the other side. That's kind of cool. Let's see if that works. I reckon that's cool. So it breaks off a bit, and then we've got to really go and a bit of an explosion here. So we've got our keys, but now we want to have that this sound. I'll solo it. That sound going through the chorus, but appropriately. So if I extend that out. So you can hear that the piano is having a really cool interaction with each other, the two pianos. So let's solo those and have a quick listen. So that's beautiful. So I've got a bass in mind. I always generally go to the same bass when I'm starting off. Contact, and I generally go down to what's called Juggernaut, which just sounds extreme for these sort of songs, but they seem to work really well. And that can be a period of time. So I want to do this. I want to change around a little bit. Move that one little bit across. Yeah. Yes, okay, excellent. So I am going back to that fat bass in the end, really, but it's coming in a different way. So if I just copy a few of these across, I don't know why it's not lining up there, but I'm not really that worried. And it sounds great. But what I'm going to do instead this time is keep it quite flat in its sound, except keep this last G. Okay, so the problem I'm finding is it keeps arcing itself up. This is where I feel like the violin would start to change, but that's something we can come back to later. Rensby. Okay, so now, as you can see on the screen, we've got intro, verse, chorus, back to verse, chorus. And so really, we're almost there structurally wise, which is really good. I really want to add some guitar into that chorus, but I'm going to make the second verse sound nice first. I mean, that second chorus sound as deep as the first one. So, I mean, as deep as the second verse. So I'm going to copy that down to there. And then not copy that because that would be silly. So I'm using these arpeggiators. That's awesome. Okay. Let's make sure. One of the things I find in Ableton is that it'll often just nick over a little bit, so when you want to duplicate your things, it gets in the way a bit. So now